Episode 150 of the Too Thick Pod, your home for all things sports, cards, and levity. Special guest today. I'm Jeremy, as joined by my son, Manny.
And that's right, Jeremy. We have a special guest. You know, our Thiccalos were saying, we need a therapist. We need help. So we went and got help. We got Rob from Sports Card Therapist. How you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Listen, I love your intro video. The second I heard it, it reminds me of Pharaoh Monch, Simon Says. I'm like, I literally just wanted to start moshing in my card room the second I heard that. I was ready to punch a hole in the drywall.
And if there was ever a group of people that needed a therapist, it's anybody that would consume this content. So we're very grateful to have you on, Rob. Now, the first thing, and this came from right before we jumped on, my cousin Oz and cousin Tony sent me a message, and they're saying something about you lost a bet and you're not a man of honor and you didn't hold up the integrity of the bet. You were supposed to apparently dress in Eagles gear, run around 3/4 naked, and there's some harsh words. Now, I feel like the emotion through a devastating Super Bowl loss is coming through and they're lashing out, but is there any truth to these allegations that you're a low ball? I'm not even going to say that. I'm not even going to go there.
So this is what I'll say, okay? I'm a passionate Giants fan. And as we all are when it comes to our teams, we will talk some junk that maybe in the back of our mind, we're like, I don't know if I could back this up, but it doesn't matter because I'm in this. And so I'm talking my junk in the divisional playoff round when the Giants went to the Link and went to Philly to play them. And I'm talking my junk. And like right around like Thursday or Friday, Oz is just like, yo, Rob, let's do a bet. Let's do this. And I was just like ghosting him. Every time he had mentioned it, I wouldn't even acknowledge it. And somehow after the game, he's like, he starts calling me out on not being a man of my word. I'm like, first of all, I never even agreed to it. And so it went from that, and I said, you know what? Screw this, man. I said, Oz, let's hop on. We're gonna do a YouTube live. I'm gonna throw the Eagle banner on behind me. So we're settled now. So we do that. Then the next night, I do a PWCC vintage auction every Sunday night, and I couldn't get the Eagle background down. So I end up doing like half of the PWCC auction for vintage people. With the Eagles thing behind me, I'm like, Oz, you got paid back plus. So I don't know what you're crying about.
He was pretty bummed about it. He texted me as well, Oz, and was like, so you got to ask Rob why he was the honorary captain for the Chiefs for the Super Bowl when he was supposed to be rooting for the Eagles.
Man, he is spilling the tea, isn't he?
He is. I'm just glad we didn't play him. I'm a Cowboys fan, so we cover the whole NFC East. Pretty much, except the Washington Commanders. Yeah. They put us in a group chat, and they this was like my first interaction with you. They put us in a group chat. You probably had no idea who I was, but they put a Tony Romo, Eli Manning, Dominic McNabb, like triple. I think it was a patch card.
Oh,
that was sick. I was like, now, let's just.
I remember that now.
Yeah, so
I remember that. And you know what's crazy is like, man, Philly is scary. So I don't care who Philly was playing. I would have rooted for, the Las Vegas team if they were playing Philly. It didn't matter who was playing Philly. I do not want a team in my division winning the Super Bowl because you know what that turns into? The same exact thing that happened. I'm a Yankees fan. The same exact thing that happened with the Houston Astros. They cheated their way to a World Series in 2017. And you know what? From that, they had a bunch of free agent signings, people that wanted to play for Houston now because they're a winner. They, bigger payroll because now they're selling all this merchandise. So they're still like gaining the benefits of winning like 5 years ago. And it turns into another World Series. And so like, I don't want a potential dynasty in my division. So I don't care who they're playing. I'm going to root against them.
I like that theory. Well, you don't have to worry about the Cowboys because we'll never be a dynasty again. So there's that.
Philadelphia, that's the people that threw batteries at JD Drew. They cheered when people broke their back. I mean, it's not exactly I'm a big fan of the Philadelphia folks, so I'm
Did
with
you
Rob
see
on
them
this one.
flipping cars even before the Super Bowl?
Yes.
I saw Tone in the middle of it. It's crazy.
Imagine if that was your car and you're watching on your phone. You're like, that looks like my car,
Yeah.
and you look outside and it's already turned over. Like, man,
They're their participation trophy city, is what we'll say. They
listen,
come in second place in everything.
So we love Oz and Tony, good people, and one thing that we've been checking out, we've been trying to jump on the lives as much as possible is the Wolf Pack. Talk about what exactly is the Wolf Pack. I think I have a good understanding, but for those who don't know, and let's talk about the lives because I find them to be very fun and entertaining.
I appreciate that, man. So yeah, I mean, I think everyone needs to find their wolf pack, man. And, in this hobby, I mean, without the community aspect to it, I would not be here anymore. And as much as I love cards, I love cards. I love it. But when I take a step back and I think like, would I still be as involved? Would I have my show, my podcast? Would I be doing all of these things if I was a man on an island and that was it? And it was just me. I had no communication with people. I don't know. I really don't. I really think that, John Newman says it best. The hobby is the people. Like that sounds corny. It sounds cliche, but when I step back and look at it, I think that makes sense. So really for me, all I did was find a group of friends that just kind of organically formed and then tried to think of the most corny name we could call ourselves. Right, like you know what I mean, so it's like, yeah, I mean, too thick, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
you guys know what's up.
Yeah.
So it's like, what can we do that is so bad it's like almost good? And that's
Mhm.
kind of what the Wolfpack was. So, it kind of formed organically and, we just kind of kept on meeting friends and organically continuing to grow with them. And now, we're at the point where we are hopefully locking down holding a huge event at national, you know what I mean? So it's pretty cool. We're doing really cool stuff.
No, I think it's awesome. I think it's cool too because just from a marketing perspective, to have all of you, routinely looking out for one another, plugging it, and quite frankly, there's probably some people that have been introduced to shows that they might not have known had it not been for the formation of the Wolfpack. So I think that that's pretty awesome.
And you know what? That's my absolute goal. My goal is to always try to shine any light I can on my friends. I feel like I've always been like that. I don't ever want to be above or below anyone. I want everyone on an equal playing field. I want everyone to, really know how to fish and be able to, everyone brings something to the table. And I'm constantly trying to do that. And that's why, I just like it, man. It's just it's great, and I don't know. So if you guys were to are you guys going by like if you're is it too thick? I know the podcast is too thick, but like if you were to come up with like a tag team wrestling name, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Probably like the Rock and Sock connection.
I'm the sock. He's the rock.
Okay. Why are you the sock?
Because he throws me out around like a dummy. So I
Nice.
just picture him like,
Stuffed in Mankind's pants. That just
yeah.
seems about right for Manny.
Nice. Love it.
Little Sacco action.
The
Now, that's the kind of question. This is the way my brain works. 2:00 this morning when I wake up and I'm thinking about working all this stuff, I'm gonna be like, damn it, I should have gone with this wrestler and this wrestler.
I
And I
know.
promise you that's a thought I'll have.
Yeah. But Too Thick would be a good one. So that's how we formed our name. Jeremy was doing breaks on Whatnot. And and they were doing like a free wrestling box for people. And I'm just in there trying to make Jeremy laugh. I'm usually in lives trying to make people laugh because it gets the people like engagement. Like people will start commenting on it
Absolutely.
like that. So that's what I do.
That's always
Uh,
appreciated. If you're
yeah.
streaming, I don't care what you're saying. It's always appreciated. Yeah.
Yeah, so they were opening a box and Otis came out, and I was like, "Man, he is thick." And Jeremy was like, "Man, he's thick." And I was like, "No, Jeremy's thick." And then that's where we're like, "You know what? We're too thick." And then we kind of grew
Love
this
it.
connection. We realized that we're 2 hours. We lived 2 hours away from each other. We had no idea. So we're both in Michigan, and we're like, we have this kind of connection right from the start. Let's start a podcast and just have fun with it because we enjoy the hobby. We want to kind of get people that I know some people, my friends that were always asking me about cards, but it was kind of hard to kind of explain to them about how to get into it because I was new myself. So I was like, Jeremy, can you come help me out? And that's how we formed. Jeremy's the guy that knows everything, and I'm the guy that's working my way up, losing money, taking L's after L's, but I love it. I'm enjoying it. So it could be worse.
Listen, you know, it's cards have been a strange thing these last couple of years, you know, and it's weird because when I got back in right at the pandemic, you know, after not collecting for years and years, and the prices were so high that now everything just feels so cheap. You know, everything feels super cheap, and that doesn't help my spending habits, you know. So I'm like, I'm spending because I'm like, well, you know, I mean, this might be the cheapest it ever goes. Just like people were like, is this going to be the highest it ever goes? Should I hold this card when it was super high? Now it's like, should I be buying everything because it's low? But it's like, I still now I buy a card at 2,000. The next week it's like 1,700. I'm like, damn it. You know, so it's just it's one of those things, you know. Most of my big cards for me, I just tell myself are long-term holds unless someone wows me with an offer, you
Mhm.
know. And I had someone make me an offer 2 weeks ago at a show on my biggest card I own that I'm down 50% on, and he made me an offer on what I paid for it like 9 months ago. And I told him no because I believe in the card that much. So, you know, sometimes you just gotta you gotta take those L's as you can, and a lot of it is luck too. But kind of like Jeremy and I were talking about a little earlier, it's like participation is required. You know
Yep.
what I mean? So there are times when I'll like go to walk a show that I had no plan on going to walk at all, but I end up going there, just like when I got this autograph Gretzky right here. Like I was not planning on anything happening that day. And I was like, do I want to go in there with my Zion case? Like, do I want to be that guy? Like, I usually set up with all these people, and now I'm not set up with them today. Do I want to bring, yeah, screw it. I'll bring my Zion case. And I brought it, and a dealer randomly is like, let me see what you got in there. And like 5 minutes later, he bought like 15 cards from me that were like garbage cards that I couldn't give away for like $1,200. Now I'm up $1,200 along with the little bit of cash I brought with me. So I go over to the guy that had this, and I'm like, listen, let's make a deal. Come through my cards, check it out. What do you want for trade? I have some cash. Let's make it work. And it just happened. And it was all because randomly on a Saturday, I went to a show I had no business going to or wasn't planning on going to. Participation was required, you know?
Mhm.
Manny got to experience it with me firsthand. I had a Justin Herbert Hollow Gold, PSA 10 pop one, and it was
Ooh,
numbered out of 5. And I liked the
how would you
card.
get that?
I traded into it,
What was
and
the
it was
value of it?
there was no value, so you had to find comparable players or build off of raws, and then
What were
certain.
what were you trying to value it at?
I would have taken just $1,000 cash.
Wow.
Would have been perfectly. I got into it very very cheap, um, and it was like one of those things. I got it during the off season. I wanted to get rid of it, but it was tough to move. It was really tough to move because there's a lot of people who they're not educated enough to make a decision, or they don't have the confidence to believe in a card, just like you turning down that offer. They need a data tool, whether it's alt or card ladder or something like that, to tell
I've
them
been there
what they
though.
could.
I've turned down buying cards for that very reason. So it's like
Yeah,
I can't even get mad at that because I've been
no,
that person, because I know that and I'm gonna let you finish in a sec, Jeremy, but like for me and my buddy Ken, Sports Card Lessons, he always says like, I shouldn't have to sell a card, the card should sell itself. But when you have such a rare card like that, the card doesn't sell itself 99 to 99% of the hobby. You have to literally find the perfect buyer for that card that understands exactly what you're talking about. And it's really hard to find that buyer. So you might end up stuck with that card. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like the thing with getting into vintage too, with the eye appeal. Grades don't always mean what the grades are. And, you can't really, a lot of times comps go out the window when it comes to vintage. So it is kind of like this, like, you have to really be educated and not be a salesman, but you need to be able to educate a potential buyer to the point where he's like, yeah, you know what? Bet I'll take it,
Yeah.
100%. And it was one of those cards too, where if you're having a very open conversation, you can argue that it's a $5,000 card and you have all the data to back it up. No problem. You could also argue that it's a $500 card and have data to back it up. So it was one of those
Yeah.
things where we're really good about if we're going to take a loss, I take it, get that money, and get back in the game. I don't hold and hope that a $20 card goes up to 30. It is.
Yeah, but a
it is what
card
it is.
like that, I feel like, is a card you do hold, right?
Yes.
Because especially if you got it in the off season, like you have to go into that knowing, like, listen, chances are I'm going to be holding this for another 5 months until national, and then that's the time to move that whole kind of mindset,
And so just like you, I set up. So I'm usually in an advantageous spot where I can buy at 70, 75, 80%. And I've got people walking up to me to get liquid. So I went to the show.
How
and it
close
just
to
so-
home do you set up? How far away is the drive?
I've never set up close to home, which is weird.
So are you driving toward Manny or away from Manny when you set up?
And on this day, it was driving towards Manny, but
Okay.
we just set up in Michigan for the first time ever a couple
Together?
Otherwise, it's
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But
Manny, what do
anyway,
you and Jeremy, I want to get to you, but Manny, what do you PC?
I PC. So you're gonna love this. I'm a Red Sox fan as well, so we're both
it's
rivals.
like, oh, you piece of shit. He's like, I'm out of here.
I was trying to keep it quiet because I saw the Yankees up and everything.
Yeah.
But
Right.
in fairness, my wife is a big Yankees fan, so we
Love it.
were able to click. So
Yeah.
but I grew up a Nomar fan, so I loved the curse idea when I was a kid. I love Nomar. So I PC
I
Derek.
bet Nomar. I bet super nice Nomar cards are just crazy cheap.
Oh yeah, I just got a gold for like $100. Flawless.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I want to start PC, and I'm just getting into it. Derek Jeter and Nomar cards because they actually have a lot of cards that they're on together. Not they're cheaper on the cheaper end, but there is an auto Nomar Derek Jeter I want to get because it kind of means more to me.
Do you remember a time when all in the American League there was Jeter, Nomar, and A-Rod?
Yes.
I mean, talk about cup runneth over with just legendary type of shortstops, and I know Nomar didn't have the career that the other two had, but still, man, that was incredible when you had those three all in the same league, all in the AL. It was like,
yeah, Nomar. I tell people because a lot of like my younger cousins, they have no idea why I like Nomar. I'm like, when he was healthy, he was one of the top shortstops in the league. He was, that's the reason why I like him. But I do
that's
that.
The reason why I hate him.
Yeah, and I like soccer. I'm a big soccer guy, and going into like Jeremy's point, I'm on the opposite end. I get rare stuff that I can't sell. Maybe I'm a bad salesperson. I have this. I actually the same day he got the Justin Herbert, I got a Neymar 1/1. 1/1. It's 2018, not rookie, but it's still a 1/1. I can't get luck to sell this thing. I get people that are like, oh, I'll give you $5K, but I don't.
I'll trade you the Aaron Hernandez RPA.
Yeah.
RPA.
That's funny. But yeah, so I mean, we're starting to do shows together. That show that he said that we're setting up, we're actually going to start going there and doing live podcasts. The promoter was like, "Hey, I'll give you tables. Let's do live to Thicc at the show. You grab dealers, you grab some people that are there, and just see their experiences at the show."
So are you? I guess you don't have to answer this. You can wink, but are you guys getting the tables comped?
I pay for all of my tables. That way I'm not beholden to anyone.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Listen, you'll hopefully get to that point where you don't go to a show unless it's a a comped table, and you are
Yeah.
literally right in front. That's the idea, and that's the draw that you want to have. Like
All right, you're gonna yeah. I can't remember the last time I paid for a table.
Yeah.
love
I
it.
don't.
He was trying to be.
No. And listen, it is what it is. But I mean, it's like, here's the thing, right? For so long, I was not making any money from the podcast at all, and and Jeremy, I want to get back to your story about setting up. I haven't forgotten about that. I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to get us off, but like, I wasn't trying to get us off. That didn't sound right. So maybe I was.
Yeah, maybe.
So
Let's go.
Yeah.
A guy knows what a guy wants. I
I
guess.
know.
so like for so long we were not getting paid for any of this stuff, right? It's a passion project, like, and for so long it was so weird, because like for so long I was like, man, if I could just get like a sponsor to like read their ad, they can give me like $50 a show, that would be cool. Like, then the
Mhm.
hobby can kind of start to pay for itself. And then I got to the point where I started getting those offers. I was like, you know what? I built up something too good here. I'm not going to sell myself short. Like, that's no, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah.
But what happened was, I would, promoters would hit me up, or I would hit up promoters, and I would, knock on wood, I would start getting shows and get tables and preferential seating. And then people started coming up to me just to make deals with me, because they were listeners of the podcast or watchers of the show. So it was like, so making all this content did start to kind of pay for itself in a way
Mhm.
before my PWCC deal. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool. So there's a lot to be said for getting out there and being consistent, even if you're not like seeing the financial gains in your bank account.
Yeah. We see it as we're building relationships too.
Definitely.
I've talked to so many people that I've never talked to based on they started listening to our podcast. And I
Yeah.
feel like that sometimes that's better than like actual payment, like you were saying. So
Oh my
that's
God.
always better. Like
The feeling, it never gets old, man, of people just coming up to you and recognizing you and saying like, listen, love the show. Like, that never gets old. And
yeah.
I start to set up with friends, and these friends, they have content now. So it was like when I would set up with them, and people would say like, "Hey, Rob, love the show," and they wouldn't say anything to like my friend about their show, like, I would feel kind of insecure. I'd feel kind of icky about that, because I never want someone to feel like to feel less than, or to feel like they're standing in my shadow or something like that. So now when I'm setting up with friends and they come up and they say like, "Hey, I love both of your shows. I love your show too, and I love you." That to me, that feels like the ultimate, when they're recognizing like not only my show but also my other friend's show, the Wolfpack show.
Yep.
To me, that's the ultimate.
Mhm.
I agree. So Courtney she went to Culture Collision Atlanta, and then last week she was in Cali for Burbank.
You didn't go, she went, you didn't?
Yeah, no, that's well, I'm going to California in 2 weeks to go to PSA, so I
Man,
guess
you
she got
guys,
to go to.
so she was out painting the town red. You were home making sloppy joes.
Yes, I was holding the fort down, but when she would call and she'd be like, "Hey, I just ran into so and so, and they really loved this episode," and it wasn't like a
Wow.
generic compliment. It was like you would have had to have listened.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's to your point, it's a surreal feeling that anybody would even take the time to check in, or even extend. Like the DMs are always a great thing to wake up to, or the random message. The one thing I struggle with is being we're all fathers, we all have children, and we all have day jobs. Is I often feel bad when people reach out, because I get pretty damn busy at work, and
Hold
I
on.
can't.
So, man, I'm confused. So Manny's not a virgin?
Uh
Jeremy, you were leading me to believe that he just,
No, no. I got 2 trophies.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, without a doubt, guys, and I think when it comes to content too, this is stuff that I'm always talking to, friends, the Wolfpack and stuff like that. And not that I'm telling them anything they don't know, but it's kind of like really just making sure we're all on the same page. It's like, guys, listen, consistency. We got to play the long game with this content thing, because shows are going to come, they're going to go. They're going to come, they're going to go. And if you are consistent and you have that you are slowly, the trajectory is slowly going up by the time Fanatics gets here. And I think we all kind of have a feeling that the hobby is going to grow again. We don't know if it's going to see the same kind of trajectory, if it's going to see the same kind of boom, but we know that the hobby is going to grow over time. If we can be in the hobby making content and really bridge that gap from like the pandemic boom all the way to the Fanatics boom, that's a few years now. I mean, it's just by sheer numbers, you're going to be one of the top content creators. It's just really about playing the long game and being consistent and trying to be sincere with your audience.
And why I think that's actually relatively easy is I believe, and I'm going to speak for you a little bit, Rob, we're all passionate about this space and the motivation isn't the money.
Yeah.
So it's really easy when you're going to get in, chop it up, have a good laugh. Sometimes we get in, we might think that we're going to talk about something and the conversation goes another way, and it's a blast. It is a form of escapism and we enjoy it. So
yeah. So Jeremy, you go to the show, you're driving to the show, you're driving toward Manny.
Yes. Yeah, Rob, thanks for having me on your show. So we'll get back to your question. So I'm going to the show, no expectation. I'm going to buy. And we get there pretty quickly, and somebody sees this card and gung ho wants it. So to cut a long
the Herbert.
Short, the Herbert.
Now,
so
how much are you into it for?
100, 150 bucks.
You're into it for 150.
Yep.
Okay.
I walk away with a Giannis rookie auto, a grip of cash, and some additional cards.
Wow.
And it was one of those things. It was a card I felt like, hey, you know what? I could let it go and make my money, but I think there's a little bit more upside here. And I'm really big into paying it forward. I'll let most people win on a deal or leave, meat on the bone. And it was nice. But had I not gone to that show and had I not walked it, because now I've set up at shows, so I'm on the other side. I'm always having the cards come to me. So I've got this expectation that I'm not going to find the same deals. And sure as hell, I'm there, I'm participating, and good things happened.
And he's not lying he's being really sincere about letting people win, because I was there with him and he was just throwing out cards for the kid. Like, because he didn't want him to feel like, he was like, are you okay with the trade? And if he was like iffy, Jeremy's like, here's one card, here's this card. And they're not like cheap cards. They were like $300 cards. And he kept just throwing them out to this guy.
Wow.
Until the kid was like, yeah, that's enough. That's enough. Here's this. And I actually respected Jeremy watching him that trade, because he could easily be like, I was in it for so low, I could make this much profit by just trading, and he's fine with it. But no, he made sure that kid was happy and that he could go and make his own money.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing when especially when it comes to trading, right? It's like you want to make sure both sides are happy. You want to make sure both sides are happy. You want to make sure both people feel good about the deal. I know that I for the most part, probably 85% of the time, I want to trade up, but I've traded down before, and if a deal makes sense for me and it makes sense for them and we both feel good about it, that's awesome, man. So
I know that you're an active participant in Instagram and trading, and you actually put me on to Dave Extraordinary Cards. And
nice.
I know his whole thing is trading down, building back up, trading down. With the volume of like deals that you do, what is the proper trading etiquette for online? Is it just a massive picture you just send somebody with like 50 cards and be like, do you want to make a deal? Or I'm nervous. I trade with people I know, but it kind of limits the pool of available cards. I'd love to open it up more, but in my real life job, everything is very prim and proper, and there is a very systematic way you go about it. How do you trade online for Instagram or Twitter or whatever?
So yeah, I'll give you an example. I mean, I'll just use Dave Extraordinary Cards. Real good dude. We he's someone who I consider a friend now. I've had him on my show. I've gone on his right before he started his podcast. We spent an hour on the phone, and I basically I'm not going to say I schooled him on everything, but I taught him everything I know about everything that took me probably a year to kind of iron out and figure out, I was able to kind of teach him in 10 minutes. Here's the equipment you need. Here are the websites you need. Here's blah, blah, blah. Talk to him about StreamYard, all that stuff. So and he has a thing, and he's told, I think we talked on his show about it. He has this stance that he takes. He has never once ever reached out to someone about a card. So if he sees a card that someone has, he's never reached out to them, which is like mind-boggling to me. But so when I see, he's constantly updating his page with cards, so I'm always looking through it, because I know he's always willing to let me trade up into something. As long as I have some cash and a card or two that he feels like he can move, boom, he'll do it. So what I do is basically just slide in his DMs, and I'm like, hey man, let me see. I was looking for my Zion case, but I don't. Hold on. I'm just gonna show you the last card I got from him. It was just about like 3 weeks ago. So I slid into his DMs and I go, hey man, what's that Curry at? And he told me. And let me see. 2009 playoff contender rookie auto. Right. Beautiful card. Beautiful card. And I said, what's that card at? What's that Curry at? He told me. And I'm like, sounds good, man. I could be at 2K cash, and I'm going to send you pictures of 10 cards that I have a feeling you might be interested in. See if you could put together a package that would have it make sense for you. I basically put it in their hands, you know what I mean? Sure. And if it feels like they're asking for too much, I'll maybe come back with a counter. I'll be like, yeah, I can give you those 2 cards, but I would need to come back down instead of 1,500 cash. Like, can we do 1,200? Based on the last comp of the Curry, like, this is kind of where I'm at. And, it's usually that simple. I basically tell them what I'm interested in, ask them what they want for it or where they're at on it. And I say, this is where I'm at for cash. Now here's a bunch of cards. Let me know if you want to do something. I put it all on them. I give them the power to do it. I'm not just trying to pitch them specific deals. I'm letting them do it. So that's worked for me, and but I have been a little bit more cognizant of doing trades online with just like as I've kind of grown in the hobby with my content, you know what I mean? Like I would never want to like get the better end of a deal with someone, maybe because they just wanted to make a deal with me, and then 2 weeks later they're like tagging me saying that like I ripped them off or something, when I'm like, whoa. So it's like, so now I've kind of gotten to the point where I only do online trades with people I have a history with. And in my Rolodex of people that I've done deals with on like Instagram or Twitter, it's probably between like 30 and 50 people. So I still have a massive pool of people that all have cards mostly that I would be interested in, and so yeah, it's been, it's been pretty good, man. I always try to keep updated pictures in my phone, and if not, at the very least, part of the reason why I post, I mean, I love posting my new pickups on Instagram, but part of the reason why that's convenient is because I can just very easily go to that picture, boom, send them that picture and say like, interest in this? Are you interested in this? So, but doing the online trading thing, man, that was a game changer for me for sure, because I've been able to get cards that I would have had no business doing. Like most of my trading up has been done through IG.
That's awesome.
And that's good to know, because I was always fearful of trading with people online. But I do like how you said you have it's kind of like your inner circle that you trade with. You're not going to trade with some Joe Schmo that you have no idea with. And that's kind of where Jeremy and I are struggling, because Jeremy wants to trade, but some of the people that are in his DMs are people he's never talked to before. So he's very like standoffish on the trade, because you don't know. And we're like, is there a middleman? How do we do this for people we have no idea what they're about?
the first time I reached out to Dave, he probably hated me because I sent him like a 97 paragraph essay trying to be as respectful as possible, explain my position. Hey, based on what I've heard, these might be cards that you're interested in. And I'm like, man, when people slide into my DMs, they just like, sup, dog, you trading? Sup, bro? With like 30 cards. So I was just curious about how someone like you went about it. But Rob, we know you got a cutoff, but we appreciate you jumping on and making a little bit of time for us. It's truly an honor and pleasure to chat with you. I love the show. I'm a big fan of it, and continue to wish you health, wealth, and success, man.
Guys, I appreciate it. Listen, continue what you guys are doing with this podcast. You guys came on my radar a few months back, and you guys have been killing it, man. So keep up the good, entertaining content, and definitely look forward to seeing you guys. You guys going to national this year?
We are. We'll be at Mint. Actually, we're Chicago next weekend for Skyline. Shipshawana, which is a huge show in the Midwest.
Yep.
Lansing,
Midwest Monster, right?
Yep. So we'll be all over.
Yeah, we
Beautiful.
will.
Beautiful. Guys, thank you so much for having me on, man. Keep killing it.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Right.
Do you want to plug your Instagram just in case there's some people out there? We know everyone listening probably follows you, but there might be one or two in the cracks that might not follow you. So
sports card therapist on all platforms pretty much, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. So that's where to find me.
Thank you, and we'll talk soon. Hope everyone has a good day, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.